Hello, welcome back to Patristic Nectar Kits. I'm Kriya Destiny of Ascetic Life of Motherhood, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming Nativity Fast, which begins on November 15th. And this is a period of time for the church that's set apart for us to prepare ourselves and our heart to receive the coming Lord. He's coming as a baby for our salvation. And so this is a time that's very special. We should be intentional and maybe make a couple adjustments and changes in our household to reflect this special time. So I hope you'll stay tuned and see what we have in store for you. We are about to embark on a 40-day journey leading up to the birth of Christ. So while we're in this 40-day journey, you're going to notice some changes. You're going to notice that in the church, the colors have changed. The deacons' vestments are going to be different. The cloths on the icons are going to be different. And so one of the things I like to do is whenever the church makes a change, I like to make a change in my home too. Our homes are a little church. Have you ever heard that before? St. John Chrysostom describes that. And so when there's changes that happen in the church, I like to make those changes in my house. So one of the first things I usually do is I'll add some kind of color or maybe a little flower in our icon corner that just says to our family, hey, there's a change. We're in the Nativity Fast now, okay? So that's one of the first things I like to do. Another change you may notice is we're eating a little bit differently. During the Nativity Fast, we are cutting out certain foods and maybe increasing other foods, okay, like vegetables or fish or things like that. So as we make those changes, those are on purpose. We are practicing our self-control and we're being obedient to the church so that we can grow spiritually by saying, nope, I don't need those foods. I need more of the Lord because He's the one who sustains me, okay? So our eating is going to be different. It's going to look a little bit different. And you know what I'm also hoping that we're going to be praying more as well. As a family, we're hoping to increase our prayers. We're hoping to go to more services. If you are in the habit of attending services every Sunday, my recommendation is add one more service each week. So then you're going to at least 2 times. Or maybe you already go to church 2 times a week. Let's add one more service, okay? So whatever you're doing normally, just add a little bit more, increasing our prayers, increasing our devotion to the Lord, okay? So we're fasting, we're praying, and my hope is we're also giving more. The Nativity Fast is a really special time to increase our generosity, taking care of the poor. You'll see a lot of opportunities because thankfully our culture also recognizes that shift. So there's going to be more opportunities to serve others and give. So as we prepare for the Nativity, I want you to be thinking about those 3 things. We're praying more, fasting, giving, and making a visual change, okay? So those are the 3 I want to mostly focus on. In addition to that, there's a lot of special traditions that we can do during this time of year. And I'll talk a little bit about some of those traditions in the later part of the video. But one tradition I want to introduce to you is the Advent wreath. Have you ever heard of an Advent wreath before? Maybe you haven't, maybe you have. So this was a tradition that actually started in Germany, and there was a man who took a wheel, so imagine a wheel, on a side of a cart, and there was holes in it all around, and he put candles in the wheel. And what he was teaching people is how to mark the time for Advent on the weeks leading up to the birth of Christ. So marking time is a very important thing, and we do this in many different ways. We have calendars, we have watches. It's always been a very important human thing to mark the time, right? Whether we're marking the days or the weeks. And so when we're in the season of the Nativity Fast, I love to find ways of marking the time so we can see the journey. It's 40 days. It can be very, very long. So using the Advent wreath, we fill this up with candles, and each week we light a new candle, okay? And when we light the candle, there's different things that we can do together, and I'll talk about those things. But again, the idea is that we're journeying through to the Nativity. So the man who made this was in Germany, like I said, and it became such a cherished tradition that those who immigrated from Germany came to America, and they brought this tradition with them. And so now it's become a very prominent tradition. You might see Advent wreaths at different stores, and they have 4 candles on them, okay? And the reason for that is because in the West, their Advent is a little shorter, or their Nativity is a little shorter than ours. Ours is 6 weeks, okay? So we've got a couple extra candles. So this is something that you can buy or you can make yourself, and I'll talk about this. So let's get started. Let's learn how to do a Advent wreath or a Nativity wreath together, okay? For an Advent wreath, you're gonna need a couple of things. You're gonna need 8 candle holders, okay? Now that can be an Advent wreath that you already purchased, one that you make yourself. I've seen people that have taken a slab of wood and drilled holes in it and made candle holders that way. Or you can just have some candle holders, and they don't need to be taper candles. They can be just 7 candles, maybe even votive candles will work too, okay? So you're gonna need 7 candles on the outside and 1 in the middle, okay? Then you're gonna need some candles. Now, again, this varies. I particularly like beeswax candle, but you can certainly use colored candles, and there's different ways of doing it. All red, all green, whatever you choose, that's fine, or white. I use beeswax candles. So you're gonna need 8 candle holders and 8 candles. The way that you set up an Advent wreath is you take 7 candle holders and place them in a circle, okay? Okay. Now, sometimes people will also decorate their Advent wreath with some kind of greenery, okay? That's optional. All right, so I've got here my decorated Advent wreath that we're gonna put in a prominent place. Now, the way that we use the Advent wreath is on the first day of the Nativity Fast, we light our first candle, okay? And the next time we light a candle, we increase by 1 candle every Sunday, okay? So the first day of the fast, we light our 1 candle, and we do our reading or our hymn, and then we blow it out. And then the next day, we light just the 1 candle still until we get to Sunday, when we light an additional candle, okay? So this Sunday, we're going to have 2 lit candles. We're gonna have the first one that was lit on the first day and the second candle. We're gonna light both candles. We're gonna do our reading, and we're going to do our hymn, and we're gonna blow it out, okay? Now, that whole week, we're gonna have 2 candles until we get to the next Sunday. Now, next Sunday, we're gonna light that 3rd candle. So now we have 3 candles lit. We're gonna do our reading, we're gonna do our hymn, we're gonna blow them out. Then the following Sunday, we're gonna light that 4th candle. And the following Sunday, we'll light the 5th and the 6th. And then you'll find that we get to the final Sunday, okay? So there's gonna be a total of 7 candles lit, because there's 6 Sundays. The first one is the first day of that. And on Nativity of our Lord, we're gonna have all the candles lit, okay? So we're gonna do our reading, we're gonna do our hymn, we're gonna blow them out. So as we increase in the weeks of Nativity, we're gonna light our candles. And this is a way that we mark the time, okay? So by the end, we'll have all of the candles lit. You'll see there's gonna be a stepping stone of how far down the candles have gone as we've journeyed through. Isn't that beautiful? It's one of my favorite memories during the Nativity Fast is gathering around the table with my children and we sing a hymn. Typically we sing, O come, Emmanuel. And all the children sing it with us. We sing the couple of verses and then they race to blow it out. And we do this every night. At the end of our prayers, we'll turn all the lights out so it's nice and dark, and we'll light the candle that's appropriate for the time, and we'll sing and we'll blow it out. There's another way you can use this as well, especially as your children get older, or if you have no children in the household and you got a little bit more leisurely time. You can actually use this to light your candle, as I described. Light your candle and pair that with a reading. There's a number of readings on the market. This one is called Welcoming the Christ Child. I highly recommend it. It's from Ancient Faith. And this goes through the story starting at creation all the way through the Old Testament, leading up to the birth of Christ. So it's really taking us through God's plan for salvation through the scriptures, okay? So there's books that you can read. There is another devotional that's brand new in the market last year, also from Ancient Faith, called Behold a Great Light. And this is, again, just a little page or two reflecting on the 40 days leading up to Nativity, geared towards adults, young adults, maybe even teens, okay? So that's another option. There's a free option available through the Antiochian Archdiocese. I have it printed up here. It's Advent readings. So similar to the Welcoming the Christ Child, it goes through the Old Testament readings called the Jesse Tree readings for every day leading up to Nativity. And they've also included the 12 days of Christmas, so you can continue this tradition. So I'll link that below as well. So as you're imagining doing this tradition, we're lighting a candle, we're doing readings, we're singing a hymn. Once you get to the Nativity, my children cherish this. They love this tradition and they say, Mommy, can we please keep doing it? So for the 12 days of Christmas, which if you're not aware, is starting on the Nativity of our Lord all the way through Theophany. It's 12 days. And this is a period of celebration, and we light the Advent wreath and we sing the Nativity of our Lord, the Troparion. So we learn that throughout listening to it throughout Advent, and we'll sing Christ is born, glorify him at the end. So we continue this tradition all the way through Theophany. So I hope that gives you some ideas of something maybe you can add to your Nativity tradition that's beautiful and meaningful, and it helps us to prepare our hearts to receive Christ. So this is the Advent wreath. Well, there's a lot of different traditions that can be done during the Nativity Fast. There's a couple I want to highlight just so that they're on your radar, okay? December 6th is St. Nicholas Day. So on December 5th, the night before, don't forget to put your shoes out, and St. Nicholas will often leave treats for you, okay? And there's a story called St. Nicholas and the 9 Gold Coins. I definitely recommend you read that so you can learn why we do this tradition of leaving coins in our shoes, okay? And there is St. Lucia Day, one of my personal favorites, where young maidens will dress in all white. They'll wear a red sash, which represents her martyrdom. The white represents her purity, and she has a crown on her head. Then there's St. Herman of Alaska on the same day as St. Lucia. And so for those, you can make little star cookies, as he's known as the North Star, or you can make Spruce Island cookies. So there's a lot of sweet traditions leading up to it. And then we get to the Nativity of our Lord, and we get to celebrate for 12 days. set aside that time in your house to really do all of those special things. We even create a bucket list of all the things that we want to do. We'll go ice skating or get ice cream, eat the things that we've been fasting from. So we really try to do something special every day of the 12 days of Christmas to really relish in the celebration. The world says, nope, Christmas, we're done. We pack it all away right after that. And we say, no, Christ is born. Now is the time to celebrate and cherish the coming of our Lord, the beginning of our salvation, the incarnation. So whatever you do, may it be blessed. I hope you have a wonderful Nativity Fast in your household. Bye.